Well, would you look at that? One of the certifiable financial geniuses behind Amazon's decision to pre-order 5 seasons of The Rings of Power, totaling just shy of $1 billion, has been very quietly kicked up the Amazon system, as Gene Salke announces departure as head of Amazon MGM Studios, and The Rings of Power is far from the only star to her name, warranting such an illustrious promotion. Oh no, not by any stretch of the imagination. She also was responsible largely for Citadel, a $250 million flop, and Dwayne Johnson's Christmas Adventure, another $250 million flop. This woman right here might actually be the single most expensive female in human history. An achievement that I at least believe warrants a degree of celebration. I mean, come on, she has flushed more money down the toilet for Amazon than any other person. She has done more to dissuade Amazon from continuing along its current political trajectory than a million me's or any other YouTube channel. Despite it all being by sheer incompetence and accident, I nevertheless believe that she deserves a brief round of applause. So, Gene Salke here has departed Amazon MGM Studios and has been given a position as a more independent person, supposed to be making her own movies under Amazon, hence the kicking upwards. In essence, she's not being fired or let go or relieved of responsibility technically. Instead, she's being written, in all due likelihood, a very large check and allowed to do whatever the hell she wants in the hopes that she'll fucking disappear. So this follows on to yesterday's topic a little bit, that woke is beginning to disappear and what the companies in question can do about it, as we've seen a lot of recent incidents of this. Dragon Age is a wonderful one, but apparently the EA executives were referring to the RPG fans as people in a nerd cave who would always show up, and thus, therefore, EA and BioWare didn't actually have to try to appeal to these people, because they'd come out and buy Dragon Age regardless. Can you fucking imagine being so goddamn blind? This is what I mean. This is what I mean about the executives, right? The executives aren't malicious. They're not the ones pushing wokeism, in my ever so unhumble opinion. They are most of the time simply ignorant tards who play golf all day and fuck their mistresses, having no understanding whatsoever what the countless companies under their supposed purview is doing. They go to a company like BioWare and go, hey, you're full of RPG experts, right? And they go, well, yeah, we've been making RPGs for a while now. Okay, I trust you to make an RPG then. And then BioWare comes along and goes, what if we transed all of the characters? That's where the malice comes into play, or Ubisoft as well. So this was an interesting little article that came out a few days ago, so if we quickly translate this into English, you'll get the gist of it. Elias Guillemot appoints his son to head a committee that has 100 days to breathe new life into the group. So the Guillemot group are the people who kind of, own/run Ubisoft, a big name family that has been doing so for a very long time. The son of that family was let go of the company quite some time ago for being too based, too spicy, and now he is being brought back at the head of a 100-day strike team of like 10-20 people or so to radically revisit the trajectory of the company. I mean, give me a weekend and I'll set you up a plan. Literally, this isn't hard. He needs to come in there and go, right, from now on, every video game we make is going to have a woman with huge boobs on the cover. Anno 117, you're going to have a big-titted Roman chick laying on a chaise lounge being fanned by slaves. Voila! Oh, and by the way, let's release Beyond Dead and Evil or Good and Evil 2. Except, give me a demo first, and if I see so much as a fucking hint of wokeism, I am restarting the entire project into my personal purview, etc. You could absolutely fix any games company by simply, well, obeying the age-old adage of sex sells, because it's kind of what people want these days. Something that isn't prudish shit, but to return to Jen Salke here, one of the biggest problems I mentioned last time is that the people within these companies, the people who did the wokeist nonsense to begin with, they're under contract. They're protected by labor laws or unions or a host of other reasons that means that you can't just fire them. And some of these people were hired during a rise in their career where they seem to be able to do nothing wrong. Kathleen Kennedy is just such an example. Before she decided to ravage Star Wars in every single sphincter known to man, she was actually a very successful producer, and so she is given a tremendous amount of leeway because she was viewed by the people in the industry as somebody who could just touch something and turn it into gold. That plus the fact that she sealed the deal with George Lucas, of course, which was expected to be an enormous benefit to Disney. Same thing here. These people were expected to be miracle makers, and so they were given ludicrously charitable contracts, massive pays, lots of securities, lots of safeties, golden parachutes, you name it, to make them sign on. And then they got on board and they produced nothing but absolute unmitigated diarrhea from day one till the end. But a contract's a contract, so bend over and take it. That is the only option a lot of these companies have, and so they might do something like this. Now, Jen Salke, as the head of a studio, can do a lot of damage, as can be demonstrated with the recent Tomb Raider fiasco, for example. So, they were apparently trying to create a Tomb Raider movie, TV show, it's a bit unclear, but they hired a woman to write it. That woman has produced nothing. Absolutely diddly shit nothing for 2 years, costing, I think I've seen for everything from $10 to $30 million, and doing nothing. That's damage. Making Citadel is damage. Signing on Rings of Power, damage. Red One, damage. As the head of a studio, she can continue to cost a lot of money. But if you take her by the neck and move her over and go like, okay, I can't get rid of you. Here's one project to run. That's all. At least then you limit the amount of wastage she can achieve. This is in essence the desperate last option of these studios. Either they offer a buyout so ridiculously generous that the person will go, oh, you're gonna pay me for the next like 7 years to not work for you? Which is happening, by the way. One of my Amazon insiders have told me about this in Germany, for example, in the Amazon studios there. They're basically paying people to stop working for them by ending like 3-4 year contracts, by giving them like 2 to 3 years of that contract in payments, basically literally paying people to stop working for them. But in the case of something like this, the money's too much, and you're still hoping you might get something out of her, so put her on a project, hope that maybe, her talent is actually in just doing one thing. And she's a terrible manager, she's a terrible organizer, she can't run a studio, but maybe she can make a movie. That's in essence the hope. And if that also turns out to be false, at least you've got a firewall between her and the main bank account. And a lot of companies are going to have to start doing this. Disney's going to have to start doing this. Netflix did start doing this years ago. Netflix was way ahead of the curve on this when they basically said, listen, if you don't want to make entertainment, you have no reason to work here. They started their purge like 2 years ago. The other companies are now just only beginning to catch up and realizing, we've screwed ourselves with this. How do we get rid of these people? And of course, even this is a coup. Even this is actually a good thing, because this means that the woman took the buyout, instead of starting a straight-up internal civil war, as a lot of these people will have onboarded countless other individuals that are loyal not to the company, not to Jeff Bezos, but to them. A lot of entire departments might need to be purged from the bottom up, simply to uproot this rot that was largely introduced by human resources people. Again, like I said, wokeism is absolutely on the decline. We are seeing the retreat of it. We are winning. We are in the beginning stages of defeating this plague. But the route is gonna take half a decade at least. Hell, many of these companies are probably right now praying that it'll only take 5 to 6 years to get rid of these people. But for the rest of us, we can simply sit back and enjoy the visage of Amazon taking a well-deserved pounding, as if nothing else, this is a lesson that any megacorporation will actually learn. They might not take notice of one financial flop or 2 financial flops or, 5 years of consistent downswings on their stock prices. But add it all up together, and it becomes a message that even the rich shit at the golf court is going to start looking up and going, why is my investment failing so hard? Until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching. Freudian slip. And I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.